So today I wanted to do a tutorial video on how I reached Mythic, and so can you with a very good deck that's pretty meta right now. I went all the way from Bronze 4 to Mythic in about 4 to 5-ish days, and I think this deck is really good for climbing. I think it's very easy to play, so let's take a look at it. This is just a standard mono red deck. You got your 4 champions, your chargers. You want to run 4 frostbites. I need to get rid of this guy. If I can figure it out. And we will add another paladin. Paladin is not necessarily meta. You can sub this out for a couple of things, like an extra Tor brand. You can sub it out for an extra Phoenix. Kind of like, you can kind of feel it out. You can add another Bone Crusher and another Tor brand. Kind of up to you. I like having this because it puts a lot of pressure on the board instantly. Tor brand does the same thing, but he has haste. So they kind of have to deal with it that turn. Realistically, I think Tor brand and another Bone Crusher is better in most cases. Let's look at sideboard real quick. You want to run, I like to run 3 to 4 red cat melees. If you run into a mirror deck or any red decks, which are pretty relevant at the moment, that's just an extra damage instead of frostbite. You will literally just dump your frostbites for your red cat melees. Ember can be good because if you run into a control deck, getting rid of an artifact with a creature attached to it is pretty good. Same thing with the other thing, dealing 3 damage, exile it. This is for, so for graveyard decks, War is for ramp, so that way you can take their, their big creature. And when you take their big creature, it does 2 things. One, it puts it on your side, so that gives you swing opportunity, and it makes it so they can't block or use it, obviously, so that is very beneficial. And then you can put 2 Oxes in here. I generally don't use Ox that much, but it is very good if you're running through cards really fast, especially if you are using mulligans a lot. That can come in handy. I have 61 cards in here. I'm going to take out one of these guys, because again, they're not super great. And let's go do a game real quick, and I can kind of explain my thought process and why I believe this deck is really good at climbing. So the thing you got to think about with mono red, and this is why it's so good for climbing, is matches are much shorter. Either you win quickly or you lose quickly, which doesn't sound good on its surface, but it is. If you can have a high % win rate, you're literally doubling your matches played than most people, if not triple. This means that you're grinding much, much quicker than everyone else. And when you do that, when you do grind matches quickly, you're going to just rank up faster. More matches won, more matches played equals faster ranking. Because when I grinded from Bronze 4 to the leaderboard, I played this deck exclusively pretty much. And it was very fast. I probably played about 3 times the amount of games normal people play, just because my average game was roughly 10 minutes or less. And if a game normally goes 30 minutes, well, that's 3 matches. And if you got 3 wins, that's 3 more wins than the other decks are getting. Looks like we have a keepable hand, so we're going to do that. You always kind of want to be looking. It just depends on the deck, obviously. Okay, free win, we'll take it. Sure. So, the thing to look out for with this deck, and I've kind of noticed, is that you need to be careful with your adventure cards. This kind of goes for any adventure deck, but if they have something to get rid of your adventure effect, that's basically getting rid of 2 cards for 1 card, which is horrendously bad. So keep that in mind, because you are running things like Rimrock Knight, Bone Crusher Giant. So always be prepared for a counterspell, a removal, a instant blast card, just so you're not losing, they're not getting so much value out of that. But with this deck, basically what you're wanting to do is just rush the opponent. Now obviously every situation is different, but generally speaking, you want to be on the offensive, put pressure on them, feel like they have to react to you, not you reacting to them. That puts you in the driver's seat, and that's where this deck does really well. Hopefully this guy doesn't concede instantly. Generally this is okay, I wouldn't say great, but it's fine. Robber the Rich, very useful for this deck because when you're slapping down a lot more cards than they are, you get to take their cards, which is beneficial in a red deck just because you burn a lot of cards. Okay. Double selfless. Slap down that. Typically, you want to get faces given out early, but if I get another Snow Mountain with a Frostbite or Frostbite, it'll just help. I wonder if he's going to do it. No. Okay. So he's decking out really fast. He must be setting up for a big creature. Okay. He probably... I knew he was going to take Robber the Rich, but I think he should have taken Anna. I actually bone crushed personally, but I want to bone crusher here. Get rid of that guy so I can swing. The thing you always want to do is try to make an optimal play. He has to sacrifice one of them. He's going to give it. Now I have to end turn here because he can block. But you always want to set up to hit face. You just want to set up to hit face. This isn't a control deck. This is an aggro deck. Put minions down. Swing them. Even if they're trading, that's, depending on the situation, that's more beneficial for you in the long haul. I'm actually going to do this to get rid of his next Selfless Savior. It's fine. And we still have a Robber Rich technically, so I'm going to hold off on swinging just because I am getting low. See what we can do with that. We do have pretty fair amount of mana. I'm not gonna block there. I can take this hit. Hopefully I can table charge that. It'll be fine. Let's see what he does here. The nice thing about Robber the Rich, by the way, is Faceless Hero, Faceless Haven, can actually pull your Robber the Rich cards. because he is technically a rogue. So that is nice. Looks like he's got me on the ropes here. Yeah, that's the kind of the gist of it. I can go into more details if you guys like. I just kind of wanted to show you a little bit of this deck. I can show you my win rates as well. Hopefully. Alright. Looking like I got it. Yep. I don't know how this is working. Maybe I can get that working in the future. But again, super easy deck. Here it is again for you guys. Clip this. Very good. Very quick, very swing heavy deck, which I think is a great deck to start out with if you are trying to reach those higher ranks quickly, or if you're new and you want to try to push as far as you can. This deck is cheap, it's easy. Go ahead and try it out yourself, guys. And if you have any questions about how this deck works, how you should be playing it, how whatever